Have I Got News for You is back for another season. Roy Wood Jr., Amber Ruffin, and Michael Ian Black are finding the funny in the week's biggest stories. Have I Got News for You, Saturday at 9 on CNN, and stream next day on Max.
Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast is now on YouTube. Go on YouTube and search Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast and click that subscribe button to never miss an episode. Welcome back, everybody, and thank you for hitting that subscribe button, hitting that download button. This is episode 2 of Every Pokemon Episode Ever. And I am one of your hosts, good old Wrestling Chris G from Sports Entertainment Breakdown. And doing this show with me is my good old co-host, Dougie Fresh. My man, how you doing?
Have we given up on nicknames already?
Yeah, because I was thinking about it last week, and I was like, you know what? If we do a nickname every single week, it's gonna get old because we kind of have to keep it kind of Pokemon themed. And I don't know if I can nickname you the Bulbasaur to my, or you being the Bulbasaur to my Venusaur, or I be the Charmander to your Pikachu. Like, I don't know. It was going to get weird, and yeah.
Well, I mean, you would just have to keep it related to the episode.
All right. Then he is the Pikachu to my Ash. Good old Dougie Fresh. How you doing?
Oh, that's a fucking cop-out.
Well, the episode revolves strictly around Ash and Pikachu,
No,
unless you want me to call you my Misty or the Misty to my Ash.
You want me to make you feel real bad for about 5 seconds? Because it's easy.
Okay, go.
He's the Chansey to my Nurse Joy.
Oh, shit. We do see Chansey for the first time in this damn episode. Or the coughing to my Ekans. Oh, I should have did that.
That's not bad either.
Damn. But how many times can I do that one?
Well, until they evolve.
I know, right? So, so some Pokemon history that I wanted to bring up before we get into our history segment. I got the ages of Ash, Misty, and Brock that I had no idea was out like in comic books and manga strips and different things like that. But did you know that Ash and Misty are both 10 years old?
No.
Yeah. And Brock is in his teens. I think they said he is 15 years old. And Jesse and James, there's no definite, but they are in their 20s.
Shenanigans.
I kid you not. It was on the PokeWiki. I did some Googling the other day. But yeah, both Ash and Misty are 10 years old.
They didn't look like that when I was 10.
Yeah, they did. And I always saw Misty and Brock as like more of like the higher teenage. Like I thought Misty and Brock were more of the same age than Ash was to them. But now it kind of makes more sense as to why Misty kind of follows along with Ash, because they're about the same age.
Well, yeah, I mean, the way I always kind of saw it, I saw Misty as like teens, like 15, 16, and I saw Brock as like maybe 19, even 20.
Yeah.
Because, like, and I mean, we'll get into it in a few more episodes, I'm sure, but like, Misty and Brock are gym leaders.
Yes, they are.
You know, and how bad does that make Ash look? If Misty was a gym leader at 10 and he's just starting out.
Yeah, but Misty, it was also revealed, and we'll get into it on a later episode, she is the youngest of the 5 sisters.
Well, that's true, too. And I think they even mentioned that.
Yeah. So, and she didn't want to be a full-on gym leader anymore, and she had different aspirations, so that's why she left, and I mean, we'll find out in a few episodes why she left and all that. We're not going to give any spoilers out, but it was just interesting. And hold on, I actually had how old Gary was too, because Gary, let's see, how old is Gary?
Well, he has to be 10 because him and Ash.
No, he's older than 10.
So he's a loser.
Yeah, Gary, let's see. And oh, he's only 10 at the start of the series. Wait, hold on. I read something else that had to do with the damn comic book.
Well, you can't believe everything you read on the internet.
Oh, no. Ash and Gary are 10, Misty is 10, Brock is 15. So, good to know. That means Brock was caring for his brothers and sisters at the age of 15 or younger. Damn.
Christ.
That gets a little dark.
Just a little bit.
But I mean, that also brings up why he's so goo goo gaga and so kind of perverted and loves the women. Because I mean, he's a fucking teenager.
Yeah, he just must have a heart on all the fucking time.
I know, and to be honest, I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, well, why aren't any of these women like entertaining him? Oh, because he's a teenage boy and they're adults. Gotcha.
And they're like, well, that makes sense.
Yes. So, but yeah, this is episode 2. This is called Pokemon Emergency out here in the U.S. and in Japan. It was translated as Showdown, Pokemon Center. This episode aired April 8th in Japan of 1997. And out here, it aired in September 9th, 1998. And we started this on episode 1 and we're going to keep it rolling. We have a historical standpoint as to what happened on this day.
Right. And after much deliberation and several moments where we kind of put our head in our hands.
Like, what the fuck happened on this day?
we came up with 2. I think 2 is going to be the benchmark going forward, and if we get 3, that's a bonus, but we're going to shoot for 2. And on this day, September 9th in 1984, Walter Payton breaks Jim Brown's record of yards from scrimmage as Walter Payton reaches 15,517 yards.
Ooh.
And that's a lot. And
that's impressive.
That's everything. That's kick returns, obviously rushing yards, receiving yards. That's everything. And that's damned impressive.
That's very impressive. And what's our second historical moment?
Yes, our second is a little more on the recent end, but like we were literally scraping, honestly. And I mean, it's no disrespect to this point, but we were kind of scraping.
I'll tell them what they missed out on in just a second.
On this day in 2014, Apple unveils the iPhone 6, the 6 Plus, the Apple Watch, the Apple Sport Watch.
Big year for Apple.
It's another kind of, Apple unveils its products in September. They're current for a year, and then, you got people going back around the next year. But, the Apple Watch is because obviously, they got a new version of a phone. But the Apple Watch, I think, is pretty significant.
It is. I mean, look at all the things it does now.
Right, and I mean, you can get a text. Don't have to go to your pocket. You can. I mean, obviously, I'm trivializing it a little bit, but.
Do you own an Apple Watch?
I do not.
Ooh. That's something I did not know about you. I thought you were all over the Apple Watch bandwagon.
I just recently started wearing a model of a Fitbit with a watch in it, like just this past, like during quarantine.
Oh, okay.
for the first time since I graduated high school. Like I started, my only phone or my only clock, I should say, was my phone.
Okay.
Plus,
Well,
plus, I kind of think if I can editorialize for a second, I think the Apple Watch is kind of clunky.
do you think so?
A little bit. I mean,
And
I respect what it does, but it's like, it's a little cumbersome.
I have a Samsung Gear watch that if I'm getting all dressed up, it's one of my fancy watches that I put on, and it has a screen that's like very smooth and it wraps around my wrist, and I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, but they want, they get these Apple Watches, or, well, I shouldn't just say Apple. I mean, obviously we're talking about Apple, but just in general, the smartwatch, they want it to be like an everyday thing. And it's like, if I'm trying to head out the door, I don't always grab my watch. You know what I'm saying? Like, it used to be when I was in school, I could throw all the shit I wanted to wear in my hat and put it on the kitchen table,
So,
But, yeah, so those were our two examples. Pretty good in the end. Took a little bit of digging, but we got there, and we got, not to spoil anything, but we do have a couple of really good things for episode 3.
oh, absolutely. Yes, we do. And I can't wait. And I think we're recording that today, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you won't know, but a little peek behind the curtain, that is the current plan as we're sitting here.
We'll see at the end of this episode. So, all right, everybody. So that was our historical moment on this day. We also have a Who's That Pokemon for this episode. The Who's That Pokemon for this episode was Coughing.
Topical.
Yes, and Coughing is also introduced in this episode with Team Rocket, as we will unveil as we get into this episode. But other than that, I don't really have much else to really go on besides kind of jumping into the episode, because this was a standalone, like, significant episode when it comes to Pokemon, because the last episode saw Pikachu get attacked by all these Spearows, and Pikachu finally seems to like Ash now, but we don't really know kind of where they stand too much, besides Ash is rushing Pikachu to the Pokemon Center. So that's where we left off, and then it's about time to get ready to dive into this episode. Do you have anything else to add, Doug, before we kind of jump in?
No, nothing that I can't do once we jump into the episode, but I do have a thought once we actually get into the thick of things.
All right. So, everybody, it is time for episode 2, Pokemon Emergency. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. All right. So, we actually, I want to kind of talk about this just for a second, Doug, only because we don't get many of these as the episode goes on, but we actually start the episode with a recap of what happened in episode 1.
Yeah, and you hit the nail exactly on the head. Doesn't happen too much, but maybe because this was essentially a continuation.
But isn't every episode a continuation?
Well, right. I mean, every episode does end with to be continued, so I mean, technically. But no, because there's no real setup. Well, I could say the same thing for the next episode too. I was going to say there's no real setup, but there's really...
There is, but there isn't.
Well, right. Because, we end with the shot of them walking into Vermilion City.
Yes.
And, we're thrown right into the thick of it.
So...
I want to laugh, but I don't.
So, all right. I guess with this, we start episode 2 with Officer Jenny She's announcing to the whole city. She's saying that Pokemon have been stolen by some thieves. And then she's basically saying all these thieves are in this town and be on the lookout and make sure that you have your Pokemon like close to you.
Right.
And then, of course, as she's saying this, Ash is running up with Pikachu in his arms.
And they're both beat up to shit.
And yeah, they're both beat up. And Ash, I mean, most Pokemon trainers keep their Pokemon inside of their Pokeball. But Pikachu doesn't like the Pokeball, so he's running with Pikachu. And Officer Jenny is just like, well, what the hell is going on here? You wanna take it from here, Doug?
Well, yeah, and this is why I kind of had to laugh, because Ash's first, like, interaction with authority, like, he's being shaken down as a potential Pokemon thief. It's like, Jesus Christ. Like, his second day or whatever, isn't even the end of the first. Like,
yeah, exactly. But my thing is, okay, so as she's shaking him down, and for people that didn't listen to the first episode, why didn't you? But yeah. We're playing the episode as we're going through this episode. So I just paused the frame right here. Officer Jenny has Ash by the neck, and right next to Ash is a wanted poster of Jesse and James from Team Rocket, who have not been introduced yet. But Ash looks nothing like either one of those burglars.
Not even.
Like, he looks like just a regular kid, and like the faces are blacked out of Jesse and James on this damn poster. Like, fucking, I don't know how they got that shot of Jesse. Jesse has her hand like all up in the picture frame, like, don't take my picture. And James is just James.
Well, he's just here for it. He's just.
Yeah. they like, who took these photos, Doug? Maybe I'm just being the grumpy old adult, but I'm like, who the hell took these photos of these thieves and didn't catch the damn thieves?
Well, because my initial thought is they're mugshots, but I don't think you're allowed to put your hands up during your mugshot.
No.
And B, if they were in a police station, book the motherfuckers. Like,
for real.
So, yeah.
But yeah, as you were saying, Doug?
No, it's just, yeah, like I say, this is Ash's first day, right? I think we're supposed to assume that, unless it's like the second morning because they passed out after the Spearow attack, but we don't really know that.
Yeah, we don't know what happened that night. I mean, they fell asleep. Ash woke up. He's like, oh my gosh, my Pikachu's dying, and I need to get my Pikachu to a hospital.
And then, he runs into Jenny, and, Jenny's kind of giving him the third degree because Pikachu's out of the ball. And then, this is what bothers me, and just from a personal space perspective. She sees Ash's Pokédex poking out of his pocket, and just reaches in and takes it.
Yes.
Doesn't ask him to take it out and present it to her. Just reaches in and no. Like...
Oh, and it's all because of course, Ash being a 10-year-old boy, he's like, I don't have an ID. I just need to get my Pokemon to the Pokemon Center. And she's like, well, this is an ID for you, right here. And of course, this is when the Pokedex gets a mind of its own, and it's like, I am the official Pokedex of Ash Ketchum.
Oh, I take it back. She notices the Pokedex, but he does take it out of his pocket. I rescind my...
Yes.
I rescind my criticism.
But yeah, and the Pokedex is like, I am the official Pokedex of Ash Ketchum from Pallet Town. And she's like, oh, okay. Well, I guess this will work for now. And she notices Pikachu in his arms and sees how beat up Pikachu is. And this was when the first time we actually get like I was about to say Nurse Joy. Officer Jenny being nice, and she tells Ash, get in on my bike and I'll take you to the Pokemon Center. It'll be quicker than walking.
Right. Terrible for the environment, this bike.
Yes, it is.
Just smoke trail fucking everywhere.
Because, I mean, she did kind of just speed off. So
burning rubber. Yeah, okay, yeah.
I was about to say, it could just be the burning rubber as she's pulling off, but, I mean, look how old school a lot of this stuff is in this episode. Like, who has a bike like that anymore?
Well, yeah, with a little sidecar and everything.
I know.
No helmet on Jenny. I don't think. No, she didn't have a helmet. She just got her hat on. Or Ash, for that matter. So,
exactly.
So tisk.
And then this was when we get the second glimpse of Misty as well after they zoom off, because as they zoom off, the smoke gets into Misty's lungs and she's coughing up a storm, holding her bike over her head.
Yes. She's got the barbecued frame of the bike. Just, hey.
She said, hey, get back here. So, and then she just starts running, but the shape that Misty's in for 10 years old, now that I know she's 10.
She's just booking it.
Yeah, booking it away. And then we finally get the first glimpse of Team Rocket.
Yes. And this is another little note I made of this episode. The clunkiest dialogue I think I've ever heard.
How so?
Just Jesse and James' way of speaking was just so
just weird,
just
right?
So weird. And I understand you're working off the Japanese original. I get that. So you're kind of, is it proper to say it's a dub over?
Yeah, it is. And I don't know what they were kind of thinking when they were making this episode, because I kind of feel like when Jesse and James were first introduced that Jesse and James were more on the like sexy side, and they tried to sexualize them like a specific way, because you have James being introduced and he's already holding a rose, which a lot of Japanese characters do in an anime when they're trying to be seductive. And then you have Jesse like trying to be kind of seductive in a way. I mean, am I the only one that gets that vibe?
Well, no. I mean, you mentioned, James rather has the rose, and he's, he doesn't really make eye contact. He basically talks to the rose.
Yeah.
And then, Jesse's whole outfit, she's got the cut top and, her midriff is exposed, and she's,
I'm sorry.
She's sexy. I mean,
yeah,
she's a badass, but she's kind of sexy at the same time.
And then we get the talking Meowth. Meowth is introduced, and he is a talking Pokemon.
Yes. So if I'm a kid watching this, right, and this is my second episode, right? I watched the pilot yesterday. I said I'm gonna give it a week. What the fuck? And I maybe just get used to the fact that, okay, Pokemon might just be able to say their names, because obviously Pikachu's just saying Pikachu, and the Spearow or Screamin', and we've heard a Pidgey or two, so okay, Pokemon can. And then here's Meowth just with a thick ass accent. 2 episodes in, you're trying to make me quit, aren't you?
I know. It's just, and I mean, we're gonna find out in like more of these original episodes, and I believe all this stopped within the first 20 episodes. I'm just gonna throw that out there. But then you have Pokemon you have Pokemon that's in the ocean that's swimming with regular fish, but those fish are not Pokemon, but you have actual Pokemon in the water. Like, in a while, the whole world's going to just be either humans or Pokemon. You're not going to, and then you have dogs, in the episodes too, and you don't see those anymore interacting with humans and all this. Pokemon's going to take a big turn once they find out the popularity of this TV show.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. Like, you could tell the evolution, right? You're like, okay.
Yes.
We can still kind of base this in a little bit of realism, and then, like you said, in a couple episodes, it's like, no, it's A or B. You're either a human or a Pokemon.
Yes.
This is confusing enough. Let's take out a step.
But my thing is, and we're here to kind of try to poke fun and try to throw some type of logic in this. But Ash and Officer Jenny just took off on their bike. How the fuck did they not see this big ass Meowth air balloon right behind them?
Well, they weren't looking up.
It doesn't have a shadow or anything? Like
apparently not. It was dusk as it was, so it was just kind of blending in.
But yeah, so after they're introduced, we have Officer Jenny see the Pokemon Center, and Ash is blown away because the Pokemon Center looks different than what it does like in any other episode. This is a huge Pokemon Center. It's just a big ass capsule in the middle of the city. And here's Officer Jenny just speeding on her bike, and she just burns rubber to the inside of the damn Pokemon Center, and we're finally introduced to Nurse Joy.
Yeah, Jenny just right up to reception in the bike. There's no drop off lane. There's no, I'll park. You go in and check Pikachu in. Just fuck it. Thank God those doors were automatic.
I know. But and then we have Nurse Joy do her very first line. We have a parking lot, And
I'm going, right. Okay, somebody gets it. Like, so this isn't the first time she's done this.
No, because Nurse Joy is fucking pissed off, and she's just like, again, really, we have to we got to scrape the damn floors of your tire marks again.
The janitor doesn't get paid enough to put up with this shit.
And then they're like, it's a Pokemon emergency, and Ash stands up in the bike and he's like, my Pikachu is hurt, or my Pokemon is hurt, and Nurse Joy is like, oh, it looks like a Pikachu. Like, what the fuck else would it be?
Like, it's a very under-evolved Raichu. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, don't get me started about Raichu. I have some feelings about that, but. Yeah. But knowing now that Pikachu has a unevolved form as a Pichu is very weird that that Pichu is not a part of the first 150 Pokemon.
Well, right, but if you start doing that, then you got to walk back like 20 other Pokemon too.
Yeah, that all have baby forms.
Yeah.
So, all right, you want to take this next part?
Yeah. So, Ash goes, well, after fucking Sherlock Holmes figures out it's a Pikachu, they say, well, we're going to take her, we're going to do what we can, and they call out Chansey, who, take a drink. It's another debut of a Pokemon, so that's noteworthy.
Yes.
Little egg, just kind of in the pouch and everything. And so they put Pikachu on the gurney, right?
Yes.
And
and then they take Pikachu away, and Nurse Joy is kind of a bitch. She's like, well, a real trainer wouldn't let their Pokemon get to this state anyway.
And I'm going, he's been on the job for like 5 hours. Like either it's 5 hours or it's been like a day and a half. Yeah.
Like she has no idea, and Ash is trying to clear his name. He's like, we were attacked, and I'm a new trainer, and Nurse Joy is not having any of it. She just says, well, what's done is done. We have to go help your Pikachu now.
It's like, well, yeah, go fix him and bitch at me in a minute, but fix it, But yeah, it's like, this kid's not getting it. There's no on-the-job training. This kid's in it.
Yeah, he was just thrown out into the woods, and Okay, let's go. You're a 10-year-old. Like you would think some of these. I'm kind of curious. How old is damn Nurse Joy? I'm gonna look this up right now.
Well, if we're going off of the shit we found out before we hit record, she's probably going to end up being like 23 or something.
Yeah, let's find out. Let's see. It says, oh sure. Let's see. Pokey Nurse Joy. Ba. She has no age.
She has no age.
No.
Shenanigans.
Yeah, no. They never let's see. They just said that Nurse Joy has a bunch of sisters and cousins and they all look alike. Yeah, she has no nothing.
Shenanigans.
I know. I mean, I'm saying. But that was kind of a buzzkill because I was hoping to give her damn age on this damn episode. I mean, everybody else has a damn age. Why the fuck doesn't she?
I don't know. Maybe you're not. Well, I was going to say maybe you're not supposed to shout out a woman's age, but Misty's 10. So I don't know.
So, all right. So, out of there, because, I mean, the more you click around, the more you see things that you should not be seeing.
Told you to not look up that stuff while you were on the show.
Well, people are weird when it comes to Pokemon, man.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So they leave poor Ash kind of just hanging in the wind in the waiting room. And then the Pokemon, well, he said, well, I guess I could call Mom.
Yeah, for real. Finally.
And he goes over to one of the phones and he calls home and
It's a video call, too.
It's video chat, so you're talking, fucking 1999 video chat.
And their video chat was so much clearer than what ours was back in 1998, 99.
Yeah, really.
I mean, I remember seeing like pixels, but this is just a clear picture. They had the iPhones before we did.
Well, it is Japan,
So.
But, and she's like, oh, Ash, you're already in Vermilion City. It took your father, what did she say? It took your father
10 days.
10 days? 10? I thought she said 4, but okay.
Oh.
It took your father, 10 days, and, you're already ahead of him, and you're probably doing great. And he's like, well, never mind the fact I'm at a hospital.
Yeah. But let's point out, and I this is probably the only time that we'll be able to talk about this, but this is the last episode to this date that Ash's father was ever announced on the show.
Right, and I feel like I don't really want to get in, because I feel like if we get into that, that's going to take us on a wide turn.
I have my assumptions, and I'm starting to think that Giovanni is Ash's father.
Well, but there's also the war theory.
Yeah.
The great, Pokemon War, which, there's only a certain amount of males. Otherwise, it's just Nurse Joys and Jennies and, obviously the odd, trainer or, the odd, male gym leader who, we'll talk about
the Great War later.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Surge later.
But yeah, there's that theory, but nobody really knows. I've watched many videos on this too, and nobody knows who Ash's father was. If you go off of the comic books, Ash's father is a deadbeat dad who went out to be a Pokemon trainer and left his family back when his mom was a teenager and just never came back.
So, but I feel like the deadbeat dad theory is almost too easy.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's just, the male character isn't in the picture. Well, he's just a deadbeat that went out for smokes and didn't come back. Well, that's cheap.
Yes. So
yeah.
I mean, me thinking about this, I mean, they've thought so much within Pokemon that I think that before Pokemon finally has his day, we're going to find out what happened to his father.
Oh, it's going to be a big, because he just, I shouldn't say just, but he recently did finally win the Pokemon League, so they could just be checking shit off.
Yeah.
You know.
So I think it's going to be a big episode, and they're actually getting ready to release the new season this upcoming Friday as we're recording. I mean, that's how late in the game that we're releasing these episodes that you're hearing it, because you're like, oh, they've already released the first 12 episodes.
I'm through that. I'm waiting for the next batch.
So yeah, they're getting ready to release Pokemon Journeys on Netflix, which is season season 31?
Good Christ.
Of Pokemon, I think. Let's see. No, Journeys is 23. There you go. So holy crap.
Jiminy Christmas.
We are behind, but we will catch up one day. When Pokemon is all said and done. That's like that's like the Simpsons. What a cartoon, and Talking Simpsons, them finally catching up to every episode of The Simpsons.
No, I think they'll quit before they catch up.
I know. So, okay. But back to the story, and this is why these episodes are going to be an hour long apiece.
Yeah.
With our background stories.
But yeah, so he hangs up with his mom, and then he finds that picture of the 4 legendaries.
That are sitting right up on the wall, and it's, of course, what is it? Articuno,
Zapdos, Moltres, and
one. Well, one of them on the wall looks like an Arcanine, but I'm not sure what that 4th Pokemon is.
No, because he looks up and he zooms in on that one, and he's brought back immediately to Ho-Oh flying over the rainbow.
Yeah.
So I gotta.
Well, the one that he was looking at was Articuno.
It could be an Entei.
Oh, it is Entei. Okay. But yeah, the one that he was looking at was a Articuno, but in his mind, he saw Ho-Oh. I mean, he saw Ho-Oh. He doesn't know what Ho-Oh is.
Right.
But the photo that he was looking at was an Articuno. Out of the 3 legendaries.
Right.
Because Ho-Oh has still not been revealed yet.
Correct.
So that's weird. But as he's reminiscing on this, the Pokemon Center phone starts ringing, and it's Professor Oak.
Right. So Ash is just answering phones now. Just
out of nowhere.
He's by himself in the lobby. He's got nothing else to do. He might as well just answer phones.
So, and this was a funny joke. He's like, "Oh, it's Professor Oak. You don't recognize me?" And Ash is like, "No, I don't normally recognize the back of your head." And the professor has to scramble and turn the camera around so he's actually looking at Ash. But he's like, "Oh, I just talked to your mom, and your mom said you're already in Vermilion City."
So, yeah, I think that lends further credence to your theory that Oak and Mrs. Ketchum are familiar.
Very familiar with each other.
Because in my head, that's Oak calling to make sure that they're still on for their date. And, Mrs. Ketchum goes, "Oh, I just spoke to Ash. He's in Vermilion City already."
And he's like, "Oh."
Like, "Oh, I'll check up on the boy." I mean, so.
So, but fucking Professor Oak, I mean, some of his sly remarks are just out there. Because he's already talking about how Gary has already passed through Vermilion City, and him and Gary had a bet going that Ash would have caught another Pokemon or several more Pokemon by the time he's gotten to Vermilion City. and Gary bet him $1 million that he would not have any new Pokemon by the time he got here. And Ash basically tells him, he's like, yeah, I hope that bet wasn't a real bet. And Professor Oak just is like, well, God damn it.
Just immediately, just dejected, just done. And then, then we kind of play with the time and space of it all, because Ash goes, well, I saw a Pokemon that the Pokédex didn't realize, and it looked a lot like that. And he points to because Oak's video feed comes out of one of the pictures of the Legendary Four.
Yes.
And Oak apparently is able to look up and see what Ash is looking at, because he goes, you couldn't have seen that one.
He's like, nobody's ever seen that Pokemon. So
what kind of wall are we dealing with?
So, okay, but if no one's ever seen that Pokemon, and then how do people have drawings of these Pokemon already?
Cavemen.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or a wizard did it.
Yeah, he's like, people have searched their whole lives, and there's no way that you, being a brand new trainer, you've seen this Pokemon already on your first day.
Which, to be fair, he can barely keep his Pikachu alive.
I know. So, but we find out that Professor Oak likes pineapple pizza.
Which, it's fine. It's not my go-to, but I'm not going to turn it away if somebody's like, hey.
Pineapple does not deserve to be on a pizza.
Oh, it's fine.
But we come back. Misty bursts into the Pokemon Center with the bike over her head. She's now, this girl has some muscle. She is holding this bike with one hand.
Yeah, she's about ready to just make Ash eat it, I think. But then she realizes, oh shit, this bike's burnt and it's heavy and I'm going to fall down.
Yeah. And Ash is playing up. He's like, what happened to your bike?
That was great. I did laugh at that. I was like,
you're what happened to this bike, so you owe me a new bike, Ash. But yeah, as you were saying, she falls over. How come the bike is now heavy? I mean, I guess it was all that adrenaline of her just running with this damn bike, and it finally caught up to her.
Right. It's like, when a mother can lift a car off their baby, they're not thinking about it in the moment.
But she's tearing every muscle in her body.
Well, right, and you saw her standing there. She was huffing and puffing. So I took it as this was her first opportunity to, have a second to take a beat, and it's like, oh shit, this is a heavy fucking bike.
Yeah. So, but yeah, she falls over, and Misty's like, you're going to pay for what you did to my bike. And Ash is like, okay, yeah, I'll get you another bike, but right now is not a good time because Pikachu is in the hospital. And this is the first time we actually see remorse from Misty.
Right, because, she might be pissed and for fine reasons, but, at the end of the day, we saw in the pilot she has got more compassion for Pikachu as she does for Ash, because she pulls him out of the water and goes, oh, it's a Pokemon. Oh, it's a kid.
Didn't she say it's another kid? It's like she's like fishing these boys out of the damn water.
Hey-o. You can't be saying that shit. She's 10, remember?
Well, and I'm a little further. I just watched an episode last night where you kind of find out that Misty might have feelings for Ash.
Oh, I got that vibe in 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, obviously, I don't want to jump an episode.
Yeah, we'll get into that in episode 3. But yeah, I just watched that episode, and this is how far I have a whole DVD collection, everybody. So I'm on the episode where Misty gets approached by one of the Orange Island gym leaders, and he offers to have Misty stay with him. And she ends up choosing Ash over him. And we'll get into that in a year. So
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so we back to the story. We have about 9 minutes left of this episode, and Chansey opens the door after Ash says that Pikachu is hurt, and out comes Pikachu with a light bulb attached to its head.
Yeah. Because he's an electric Pokemon, you see.
Yes.
It is a fucking light bulb. Like,
You're looking at it now.
like I'm watching it now. I'm like, no, it was more than no. It's a light bulb.
It's a light bulb, just blinking on and off.
And I mean, he's hooked up, and Joy's like, well, he's banged up, but he should be okay. And it's like this was the second episode.
Yes.
Right. So, and obviously, if you're a kid watching it, you're familiar with the beginnings of this Pokemon phenomena, because you've probably been to Target and Kohl's and whatever, and you've probably seen the merchandise, and you've seen Pikachu, because he's fucking everywhere.
Yes.
And now you're sitting here watching the second episode of the series, the second episode that you could watch, and Pikachu's essentially, like, obviously,
almost dead.
Almost dead. You're going, what are they going to do with all those shirts?
But little do you know.
And then we get another announcement of Pokemon thievery.
Oh! You're skipping something, Doug.
Oh, I am not.
Yes, you are. So, Ash and Misty are basically like talking to Nurse Joy, and Ash goes, "I'm sorry about your bike, but I'll repay you after everything gets better." And Misty is like, "I fell for that last time, but after Pikachu gets better, you're gonna get me a brand new bike. But we're here for Pikachu for right now."
Right. And again, that lends a little bit more credence to your theory that she's fished another boy out of a river before who has stolen her bike, because I fell for that last time.
Yes.
So maybe Misty just needs to find a new fishing hole.
Well, after this, I mean, she's going to be following him, so I would hope so. Oh, we can't be making those jokes. He's only 10.
No, but he is too, so I don't know what the fuck the rules are anymore.
I don't know either. It's a cartoon. But, yeah, as you said, we get another alert that there's some thieves in the area.
Right. So, let's see. So then, we go back up to the apparently invisible hot air balloon with Jesse and James and Meowth.
Their voices are so deep that compared to what they are now.
Right. But like, again, it's the...
Jesse talks all like this.
And
like, what the hell?
Like, my question is, how hard did they throw these Pokeballs that they fucking broke glass?
Yeah.
Like, I don't get the impression, just looking at a Pokeball, I don't get the impression that they're thick enough to break glass. Like, I understand they're being dropped from a hot air balloon, so they're picking up a little bit of velocity as they're going down. But, no.
No.
Shenanigans.
But yeah, we finally get Jesse and James. They're finally announced as Jesse and James. They do their motto for the very first time, but we don't get the "we're blasting away again" in this episode.
Sure we do.
Did they really actually say that though?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember them saying that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because they well, we'll get there in about 5 minutes, but well, I mean episode time. I don't know how long it's actually going to take us. But yeah, so we get the whole, to unite all peoples of, truth. We get the whole spiel, and
Well, you want to do it? You want to do it for once?
No.
You don't want to do it?
No, because I don't have it off the top of my head.
Well, here. Let's see if I can jog your memory. You ready?
Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna start it up. To protect the world from devastation.
To unite all peoples within our nation.
To denounce the evils of truth and love.
To extend our reach to the stars above.
Jesse.
James.
Team Rocket, blast off at the speed of light.
Surrender now or prepare to fight?
Yes. Meow. That's right. There you go. Hey, there we go. We did it. But we're not doing it ever again. So
no, you get one. I mean, something to keep track of, because you're a little bit further, so I'm sure it's already happened. When is the first time it gets fucked up?
That what gets fucked up?
The motto, because that's a gag.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, it takes a little bit because they actually do the speech and the spiel. And I think they actually still get it out to this day. They get the whole spiel out. But it's periodically that they'll be like, oh, not you again. And they'll be like, oh, you didn't let us finish our motto.
Right.
But yeah, this is when Team Rocket unveils Ekans and Coughing. Ekans and Coughing are then wrecking the Pokemon Center of the computers and everything on the inside.
Yes. So Ash, Misty, and Joy
run to like a safe room.
Yeah, they run to a safe room and they're like, well, we have to, begin transfer procedure. And this is where my flag popped up. Because should that be a thing? Because Ash's Pokédex knows that it belongs to Professor Oak.
Yes.
So shouldn't each Pokemon or Pokemon trainer have a home base? And I think I asked the same question in the pilot. So their Pokeballs should be echolocated.
They should, but I think what we end up finding out in this episode is these Pokemon that are inside of the Pokemon Center. I think these are actually Nurse Joy's Pokemon.
Oh.
Because when they start fighting the Pokemon, because Ash only has Pikachu, so Nurse Joy tells Ash, just throw the Pokeballs.
No, actually, that's Misty being a bitch. She's like, don't just look at them, throw them.
Throw them. And then some of the Pokeballs were empty, and Nurse Joy is like, oh yeah, some of these Pokeballs are empty. And he's like, oh, you tell me this now.
Yeah, like what the, and then doesn't he throw out like a Goldeen or something?
Yes.
Fucking gets a goldfish.
But yeah, this is the first time we're in this room. So this is before they're battling. The Pokemon Center loses power, and then we find out that they have a generator which have like 10 or 11 Pikachus on it, walking in a circle, putting their electricity to this ball that connects to the entire Pokemon Center.
Yes. Pikachu, choo, Pikachu, choo.
Yeah, it was cute. Pikachu, choo, Pikachu. So, yeah, but now all the Pokeballs are starting to be transferred elsewhere. And I'm guessing, in my eyes, these Pokeballs are going to a different Pokemon Center.
Yeah, I mean, I got to imagine the first in proximity that had capacity to take on an extra, not a shipment, but extra inventory. Well, not inventory, but, extra, basically.
Yeah.
Like, hey, do you have room? Yeah, okay.
So, but of course, as they're transferring these Pokeballs, in comes Coughing, and Coughing is strong as fuck in this episode.
Yeah, and that's just a little, well, I mean, yeah, well, I don't think we should be putting Coughing on a pedestal considering what fucking happens to him in episode 3, but.
We can't talk about that yet. Shush.
Well, I know.
I know.
I'm basically coming fresh from that one. But yeah, so Ekans and Coughing are basically wrecking shop, and then we end up with a Pika pile, and that's when Ash's Pikachu jumps up. And that should be a bigger deal, but no, just Pikachu's fine.
Yes.
And
just perfectly fine now. But we are missing how Ash threw the first Pokeball to start like wrecking shop on Team Rocket, and it was a damn Pidgey.
It was a Pidgey, and then Ekans
an empty ball.
Immediately, and I misspoke. The Goldeen is Misty's.
Yes.
Who should know fucking better.
Shit, how do you not know the Pokemon that's on your Pokebelt?
Yeah, that's your Goldeen.
And then he throws his third Pokeball, and it's a fucking Rattata. And
I'm so glad Ash never caught one of those things.
Oh, so am I. I mean, we'd be looking at a shit ton of Raticate by now.
Yeah, oof.
So, but yeah, they're all fighting, and Pikachu jumps up, as you were alluding to, and starts a whole big Pokemon Pikachu like pile, where all these Pika pile, and these Pikachu just shocked the mess out of Team Rocket, and great animation just by them getting shocked and just burnt to crisp.
Yeah, and then the electricity catches the smoke from Coughing and fucking sends the fucking Pokemon Center fucking sky high.
Blowing up. But you know what's funny, because we'll find out in a couple episodes, like when they come back. I think it's around the Pokemon League episode, but they come back and they're like, oh, the Pokemon Center's back up. They actually state how they destroyed the Pokemon Center the last time they were here. And they're like, oh, it's back up and running now.
Yeah, never mind the fact that we basically put it to the ground. And then, so the smoke clears and we see Team Rocket clinging to their balloon. And it's at that point, Officer Jenny pulls up and does see them. And they're floating along, and then the balloon pops, and then that's what you do get. Looks like Team Rocket's blasting off again. Which, on first viewing, the again doesn't make any sense, but, whatever.
But actually, I'm watching it right now. So after they do blow up and they go flying away, they don't actually say that line yet.
Oh, they sure do.
They don't.
I could have sworn they did.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. They have not unveiled the whole "we're blasting off again" yet.
I could have sworn. I don't know. Maybe my head just put it in there because that's where it should have gone. But, okay, and then here's my thing, right? So the fucking Poke Center's in ruins, right?
Yes.
So how the hell is Joy sitting there on a computer?
Certain things on the inside still work, Doug. Use your imagination.
What the fuck?
Everything got destroyed besides the computer.
What the absolute fuck?
Because, you look at right behind Officer Jenny, there's a burnt up computer, but this one was not touched.
Yeah, but that's the shenanigans. Shenanigans, I say. But
yeah, Nurse Joy is talking to another Nurse Joy, who we don't see yet, but making sure that the Pokemon have finally made it to their other destination and that nothing was interrupted. But they did.
They did.
They got there and the Pokeballs were transferred successfully, so we have no lost Pokemon, so a happy ending.
Which is good, because it's a fucking kid's show that's only had 2 episodes.
I know. But after that, we shoot over to Ash and Misty, and Misty is clinging on to Ash because a Caterpie is right there.
Yes, and Ash is... I was going to make fun of him and say his bright idea, but I mean, this is the point, right? He's a trainer. He should want to catch wild Pokemon. So he's doing what he should be doing instead of throwing fucking rocks at fucking Spearows.
I know.
Jesus Christ.
So I mean, he at least learned his lesson, but right here is where we actually end the episode because Ash takes the Pokeball and he throws the Pokeball at Caterpie, and Misty has a shocked look on her face. Pikachu is like, "What the fuck are you doing? I didn't even battle it yet." And we don't find out if he catches Caterpie until the next episode.
Right.
So, yeah, that's kind of where we end episode 2.
What a fucking cliffhanger. Staring down the barrel of a Caterpie.
I know. And if you were watching this TV show when it first came out, I mean, you only had to wait 1 day for the next episode.
Yeah.
September 10th. But obviously, we're not going to go over that episode on this episode. You got to wait for episode 3, which you'll be able to listen to a week from today that you're listening to this. So, but
or next if you're fucking binging. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. They could be a year behind already, and they're just binging all of our episodes.
Tell you how to live your life, you know.
I know.
I'm just here for the content.
It's 2021. What are you doing? People are like, wait a minute, I thought they were recording in 2020. Yeah.
Oh, my head hurts.
we're skipping over 2020 because it was such a fuckery of a year, but jeez. But yeah, that was episode 2, Pokemon Emergency, or in Japan, Pokemon or Showdown, Pokemon Center. So that's it.
Worse than the pilot.
Yeah. So, just to recap, some cliff notes from this episode, if you are keeping track. This was the first appearance of Team Rocket, Officer Jenny, and Nurse Joy. It's the first appearance of Godine from Misty, and Team Rocket's, Ekans and Coughing. Chansey. Let's see. There's no other. Actually, is this the first appearance of a? Oh no, this is the second appearance of Pidgey and Rattata because they were in the first episode.
Correct.
So yeah, that's basically it. So yeah, we're getting down the barrel of 151 Pokemon in the Kanto region.
Yeah.
So episode 3 has 2 new Pokemon, actually 3 new Pokemon that we're going to introduce. But to find out what those Pokemon are, you got to listen to that episode. So do you have anything else to say on your end, Doug?
This was worse than the pilot.
So you were not a fan of episode 2.
I was not a fan of episode 2. Team Rocket's dialogue was clunky. The voices, I understand, you know, it gets better as we go, but their voices were weird. Ash basically having one run-in with the police, and immediately it going bad until the fucking magic Pokédex speaks up. You know, you have a weird kind of downbeat where you legitimately don't know if Pikachu's coming back through those doors. You know, hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage, which isn't all their fault, but it's Ash's Pikachu, so what are we you know. But yeah, it's the second episode, and you know, you do, and I made fun of the cliffhanger because it's not like he's staring down a goddamn Charizard. It's a fucking Caterpie, but you know.
But you know what's funny? And this just goes to the episodes that I just watched. I finally got to the episode where Charizard is finally listening to Ash.
Wow.
Yeah. I forgot that even happened because of what happens to Charizard. So I thought that was going to be the episode, but I completely forgot that Charizard ends up having respect for Ash before he loses his Charizard.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that in a year.
So,
but yeah, episode 2, it's done. This was probably, in terms of us, this was probably our first normal episode.
no, I'm not going to call this a normal episode because I'm going to call the next episode a normal episode because that's when we start getting into the meat and potatoes of the series.
Well, no, but I'm just talking in terms of us, like from a production standpoint, because we didn't have to spend the first half hour talking about our experience watching the show, and I didn't go on a 15-minute thing about the on this day, and
yeah,
we're trying to kind of sand down the edges a little bit. So yeah,
So, okay, I guess we can kind of get ready to walk off into the sunset, and I'm going to have you do your whole goodbye, Doug.
Goodbye, Doug.
And this is Wrestling Chris G, everybody, and thank you for listening to episode 2, Pokemon Emergency, and stay tuned for next week for episode 3, which is titled Ash Catches a Pokemon. Or in Japanese, it'll be, I'll get you, Pokemon. So, see you next week, everybody. Have a good night.